Right, so the bobber is 3 years old. So I'm going to do you a review of the last 3 years with the bobber. The reason I bought the bobber in the first place was because I had the Thruxton R before this, and I couldn't ride it for more than 20 minutes without my legs really aching. So I decided to get a bobber, which I thought it would save me money as well, because the bobber would be cheaper. I was also worried I was going to regret the decision because I was going to miss the power of the Thruxton. But I didn't. But as it happens, it wasn't cheaper because I rode a standard bobber and the brakes were crap. So I really needed a bobber black with the twin Brembos on the front, and I could only get a new one. This was at the time of all the COVID and stuff, and I couldn't really get the colour I wanted either. But that's alright. I ended up with an ironstone grey one, which I really loved, which was next demo. But as it happened, this got more than enough power. And it was really lovely to ride. And of course it was this time of year when I picked it up, so just cruising around in the sun was really cool, and I can ride it for hours without my legs actually hurting, so that was a major bonus. So, over 3 years old now. This isn't really going to be a technical review as in, oh, the fuel economy has been really good over the last few years and reliability and stuff like that. Because I have no idea how much fuel it uses for certain reasons. And that sort of thing's not really interesting to me. I'm more of doing a review of what this bike has done for me in the last 3 years. That's officially the quickest I've ever been up a drag strip. I am going to go into some technical stuff, sort of, and tell you that, well, there's not much I need to tell you really. It has been extremely reliable, it's been extremely fun, extremely comfortable, an awesome, versatile bike, which is all you need to know really. But I'm going to go into more detail of what it's done for me and my life. There's a little dog on the back of that scooter. So I just started making videos just for fun when I first got rid of the Thruxton, which was my very first video. And then carried on making videos about the bobber. And they sort of got a little bit popular, so I carried on with them. And then I started doing modifications and stuff, and people found this really interesting. And this is the bit I really enjoyed doing, so I carried on making content like that. And I am going to carry on making content like that because that's my favourite bit. And that is my favourite bit about this bike. It's allowed me to think outside the box and express my creative little engineering ideas to modify the bike. And I think that's the best thing about the bobber, is it's such a good base for people to customise and make their own. So it's been quite a journey, and it's a journey I'm so glad I took, and buying this bike was one of the best decisions I've made in my life. In hindsight, the position I am now with it, if I'd have known I'd end up where I am now, I probably would have done things different. Like as far as drag racing and stuff and the modifications, I probably would have bought a bike salvage and done all this from scratch. But I hadn't learned what I needed to learn by then to do that, so it wasn't a wasted journey. Because to
to have the bike in the state it is at the moment and not ride it much like I do at the moment, or don't at the moment, and drag race it, I would have been better off building something. And it would have made great content. But when I bought it, even when I bought it, the plan wasn't to actually have a YouTube channel or make content with it. It was just one of them things that happened. So also the making content was a really big learning curve as well. When I look back at my early videos, they got nothing on sort of what I do now. And I'm really pleased with how far it's come. I don't have much of a budget for the bobber vlog at the moment, so there are a few things I've got on the list, like building an exhaust system for it. I want to get a 360 camera and sort the rest of my camera equipment out a little bit better as well, but that's going to have to wait a little while. I am starting to get a little bit of sponsorship and stuff coming through in reviews, so that's really helpful right now as well.
So when I first got the bike, I fiddled about for a day or so with the seating position and bars and gear selector and stuff like that. Oh, the very first thing I did was I actually took the stupid yellow reflectors off of the forks. Dental floss is what you use for that, if you want to know how to do that. And then it was a lovely bike, straight out of the showroom. I looked at the rear guard and thought that's going to wind me up, but it didn't for a while. It did eventually, and this rear guard has been through so many different lives. When I bought the bike, it was just going to be a bike to ride and cruise to work on and stuff like that. It's actually classed as a cruiser, the bobber is. I don't think it is a cruiser. I think it's a class all of its own. It's a bobber. It's a tribute to real bobbers. But I like to use my bike as a bobber. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know my views on bobbers. Anyway, it was just going to be a standard bike, just cruising around. But then I really miss drag racing. I used to drag race VWs in the UK and I really missed it. So I thought, I live 10 minutes from the drag strip, let's just go on a test and tune and give it a run and see what happens. And that was a new direction for the bobber vlog, actually developing the bike to go faster on the drag strip. Because that's what I love about bikes. I love actually the art, design, the engineering of the machines, and I love to develop it, which is why I love drag racing. I love to develop it to go faster, and I have an awful lot of fun doing that and drag racing. It now has a supercharger on it. In this state here, it's in its street trim for riding to work and stuff. It's about 125 horsepower at the rear wheel. So it's got an open cat on it, and it's got the standard exhaust which has been opened up, and I've got little mufflers in the back. So it's pretty quiet at the moment, but it goes very well. I've got a smaller 80mm pulley for the supercharger. This one's 85, which will give it 15 psi boost instead of 9, which it's got at the moment. I'm going to make, well, you can actually open these headers up. I'm going to make some more headers as well. So that's coming in the very near future. Me messing about with the smaller pulley, giving it 15 psi boost, tuning it and getting it to the drag strip and seeing how much fun it is on the street as well. But the next step is to build a trailer so I can actually take it to Warwick's drag strip, which is over an hour away from here, and I don't really want to ride that far on a bike in case I break it. It's a pain, and actually having a trailer, I can take the car with me and have tools and stuff like that as well. I haven't got to rely on anyone else coming with me, so the trailer's going to be a great help. That's the next stage. And then the drag racing and messing about with different exhausts and showing you what they do and what the drag strip times are like, messing about with boost, getting it into the 10 seconds, quarter miles, that's all coming up very shortly. I've had it 3 years now and I've done 24,000 Ks on it, which isn't much. I don't ride a lot. I have had one technical issue with it though. I'll show you what that is. And that is this little guy here, look. This happened quite early on. My foot rubbed through a little rubber on this linkage. So, oh, and here. So that's really the only technical issue I've had, apart from trying to get the supercharger and everything running properly. So as far as a 3-year review goes, I'm really happy with it. And I love it. The small fuel tank has not been a problem in my life.
This was something which I thought was going to be more of a problem, the small fuel tank, but it's not too bad. If you go on a long run, it doesn't use half as much fuel, so it gets quite a bit further, but short journeys it does actually use a bit. And I put the 98 octane in now, got the supercharger on as well.
As far as comfort, the shock absorber at the back, the biggest problem with the bobber, or the only real problem with the bobber to start with, is the suspension. Change a standard shock to something decent. I don't know why they don't put it on straight away, because it's an expensive bike, but they don't. So I went for the Fox shock, which was a cheaper option and improved the bike no end. It's still, for people with bad backs, I wouldn't suggest this bike, because the suspension does sort of jar your back a little bit, and maybe really tall riders, because I'm fairly small and it fits me fine. I think big people struggle a bit because it is quite a small bike. I get bored very, very easily, and I've had this bike for over 3 years and I'm no way near bored of it. I said that about the Thruxton when I first got it. I said, this is an awesome bike, I'm not going to get bored of this, I'm going to have this for a long while. But I didn't actually get bored of it. I couldn't ride it because it hurt me too much. But this bike doesn't hurt me. It's so much fun. It's such a cool bike. I absolutely love it. It gives me so many things to do. It's the best bike I've ever had in my life. And it's not slow. And it handles well. And it looks cool. The bike has changed an awful lot since I first got it. First of all, I had to put another exhaust on. It sounded really cool, but it was just too quiet. I wanted to get the same sound my Thruxton had, and I didn't manage to achieve that. I got a nice bobber sound out of it. It's not the best sounding exhaust at the moment because I'm trying to keep it really quiet at the moment, but I'm messing about with the standard exhaust, and you might have seen the videos about that. So that was the first thing, it was the exhaust. I'm back to the standard guard now, which has been shortened, and it's actually quick release, so I can get it off very quickly, so when I get to a drag strip I don't have to have the weight of that on it. But it's more for the fact of looks, and that's what bobbers are. Bobbers were bikes what got took to the racetrack and had bits taken off of them. They were bobbed, and then people would put them back on to ride home. That's what I do with the rear guard, and I can even do that with the exhaust now as well. So I do use this as a bobber. What else did I do? I messed about with sprockets to see if I could get my drag times down, but it's such a torquey engine. Gear ratios don't make a huge amount of difference with it, even with the supercharger. I also changed the front guard to a little short guard, which is quick release, so I can actually make a quick release long guard to put on if I want, which I've never actually done, and I probably never will get around to doing that. I painted it as well, because I dropped it in, well I didn't, I dropped it in the doorway and I dented the tank, so I had to do a repair, and I thought I'd paint it at the same time. Ironstone was not the colour I wanted in the first place, I wanted matte black. I did the airbox delete, that was a very early thing I did. I got rid of the airbox and I made the little wiring covers and stuff, and it looked a bit more bobberish like that. And of course, now it has all this pipe work on it, and an intercooler, and a supercharger. And this has been a whole nother journey itself. That cost me quite a bit of money, but it's been such a good learning curve. It's got me back into like tuning things and tune ECU, and I'm really enjoying this. So I'm going to be working a lot more on this supercharger and getting more power out of it very shortly. And the other thing which has created a lot of interest was putting the 180 rear tyre on it. I think some people have put a 185 on it, but this is a 180. I've got about 5mm clearance from the chain, and that's a really cool modification. So as far as the review goes, there's not a lot I can say apart from it's absolutely awesome. I suppose I should talk about the practicality of it a little bit. It's a bobber, so it's not a real practical bike. It's only got one seat. But I messed around putting some bags on it so I could take more stuff with me, which was pretty cool. It works. It's versatile like that. You can put bags on it and have it as a cruiser. You can take them off and use it as a bobber. You can race it. You can go to work on it. You can enjoy riding it through the mountains and stuff. It's an awesome all-round bike. It does only have one seat though. So a bit about what's happened to this bike. Well, first of all, I did the exhaust because it was way too quiet. Then I did do the rear shock, but it took me a little while to save up the money to actually get that, so I didn't actually do that for quite a while. In the meantime, I did other modifications like the Airbox delete. Oh, D&K tune works just to make it a little bit more responsive. I don't think it gave it any more power, but it certainly made it ride a little bit more fun. Gold chain, I put the bigger rear tyre on it. The guard went through so much. There's lots of videos about the rear guard. The front shorty guard, the oil cap, oh, the paint job, and the seat paint job, and of course the supercharger, and getting another engine for it, swapping pistons over, things like this. So most of the real work on the bike has come from actually working with the supercharger and getting that on and getting me into tune the ECU and stuff like that. But the bike itself, it's never really let me down apart from the things I've modified on it, which is understandable. Let's talk about tyres too. The tyres which were on it are very hard wearing, the Avons. I've done 24,000 Ks and I've still got the same front tyre on. I don't really wear tyres out much, I don't ride very hard, and I don't weigh a lot. But that's the front tyre after 24,000 Ks, see? And it's kept its shape. They normally go out of shape before they wear out, but it's kept its shape very well and it still rides well. So that's that. That's me and the bobber after 3 years. Oh, it's actually about 3.5 years now. This video's been a real pain in the arse to make. I don't really enjoy making this sort of video. I like making the technical videos where I can actually make something and create something. That's what I'm best at. So, like this video, comment, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and go back and look at the other videos if you want to know more about the bike. And have a great day.